Oh my God.
We're back!
Are we back?
We're back. We're live.
Guys, you know what? It's been a minute. We've missed you. It's been a crazy, busy season. I know for me as well as for April. And I know a lot of you have been like, hey, where you been? What's going on? Are you still doing a channel? Are you still doing this? Are you still covering 90 Day? Are you still all the things? The answer to all of that is yes, but also too, and I'll speak for myself first. Hi Kathy, hi Connie, hi Christina, Better Days. Hey girl, hey Raydella. I appreciate you guys hanging in with me. And as a lot of you know, my Patreon subscribers, April as well, I've been going through a lot of stuff between my sister's passing with cancer, which I won't talk about now, but I will talk about because, you know, we had some 90-day hoorah with cancer. And then with like work and all of that stuff. So it's been a little bit of a crazy time that I haven't had the opportunity to delve deep into 90 days. April, I know that you've been busy, you've been working, you've been traveling. I've been following your journey, and I'm so happy to see your beautiful face.
Yeah, I'm in a new season. I feel so much better. I think you can see it too. I get comments from people saying I look happier. So I think you can see it. The depression is starting to come off.
Yeah. Same. And it's interesting because especially in the Black community, we don't talk about mental health. We don't really talk about depression. We don't talk about the resources that are available and the things that we go through and all of that stuff. So I just think that being here today and we've gone through it, I just think it's like so great.
It is. It's always good to see you.
It's always good to
and
see
you. And I missed everybody. Those of you who like would comment on my Antarctica stuff, I knew you were from this show and I really appreciated it.
Listen, April, I told April earlier today that when I grow up, I want to be just like her. Like, I want to travel the world. I want to do Black girl magic. I want to conquer my fears, all the things. And April does all of that. And if you guys aren't following her, make sure that you're following her all across social media because you will be inspired.
Well, I hope so.
Oh, absolutely.
I would tell you guys a quick story. I won't take up too much of your time. I said, like 2 years ago, I couldn't wait to be brave again. I couldn't wait to do something exciting and adventurous because everything that I was doing just felt like it was out of fear, out of survival. Nothing was an actual choice. So I just feel like on this trip, I really got to make choices about how I want to spend my time and who I want to spend my time with and what I want to do. And so when I cried so hard when I ran out and did my polar plunge because I just felt like I was just rinsing away everything else and just choosing this life. It felt so good.
Listen, I watched it. I watched it on Instagram and I was like, "Go April! Go April!" It was amazing. And guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely, like I said, make sure you're following April. She travels like all the time. And for people that don't have the opportunity to travel, you can travel vicariously through April. What I do know too is that she finds all the best deals. So if you have like a small budget, she makes it happen. Follow that. That all being said, we are here to talk about hi, Rebecca. Hey, girl. Hey. She said, hey, y'all. This just made my day.
My day too, Rebecca.
Rebecca, I'm not good with hearts. Everyone knows that. But like, this is me trying to do a heart. And so that's it.
Wait,
that's all I got.
My bottom needs to come down. I've got my bottom all curved up like an apple.
Everyone has tried to teach me, and I don't know what it is, but I can't get it.
Yeah, it's good enough. We know what you're trying to do.
My heart is in the right place. That being said, we are talking all things Michael and Angela.
Yes.
Okay, so y'all, we wanted to make sure that we talked about the legal hey Espere, hey girl, hey, she's in Amsterdam.
Oh
Both
my
of you and I have
goodness.
gone to, and she's been like a long-term subscriber to the Melanated Way, and I just want to say, okay, this is my heart again. Hey Espere, hey girl, hey. Next
Thank
time we're in
you.
Amsterdam, we have to find you.
Yes.
Y'all, my heart is getting worse. Isn't it? Like, what? Anyways, okay. So we're talking all things Michael and Angela.
Yes.
And because here's the reason. Because in the past like 90 days where I've been doing some other things, a lot of stuff has been happening with Michael and Angela. And as most of you guys know, Michael made it to the United States finally. And I wanted, should we start there before I go on, April? Should we start there? So, part of the issue of Michael not getting his paperwork to come to the United States was because there was a ban on, I think it was like 9 African countries. Is that accurate, April?
Well, Trump, while president, said that he was putting a ban on certain countries. What it did was slow down immigration from a lot of different countries. And then on top of that, a lot of the consulates and embassies were closed during portions of COVID.
Got it.
So there was a huge backlog in a lot of countries for immigration. And then, a huge backlog on getting background checks completed. So,
Which makes sense to me. So it slowed down the whole process.
yes,
Right? So process gets slowed down. We've been following Michael and Angela's journey for years and years and years. He finally makes it to the United States. And some of you guys have probably seen where Angela picked him up at the airport. So he's in Georgia. And like, I know some of you guys came for me when I posted how I had concerns about Michael being in the South of the United States, because again, I will say this and I'll stick to it, and I don't care if you guys come for me, but Georgia is a state. Okay? It's a state. It's not a city, it's a state. And a lot of people know Atlanta, Georgia. So they assume that he was in Atlanta, Georgia, but he was not. Angela lives in a small little hick town, and I don't remember the numbers.
Hazelhurst.
But I don't remember the numbers.
Oh, the number of people. Oh,
yeah,
I don't know that.
Of Hazelhurst, but it's in the South. It's not a major city. It's a smaller city, and that's where he landed.
Correct.
Okay, and I have inside information that the city that she lives in, she's not 100% allegedly loved. She allegedly treats people how you see she treats people on TV as well as on social media. Right. So I literally said, I have concerns. You have this African from Nigeria who's never traveled in his life, who thinks that, Trump and the American way is the only way. And I'm not going to get political, but I'm just saying, like, this is someone who's never traveled. And if you've never traveled, you're going to have a bunch of expectations, but reality is a little bit different.
Correct. I'll say something about Trump later.
That being said, he gets to Georgia, Hazelhurst, Georgia, lives with Angela, and there's a lot of allegations going on. So allegations are that Angela wouldn't let him leave the house. He was babysitting her bunch of grandchildren. And, I also have some issues with that because she has 2 daughters. One daughter who was convicted of a really serious crime and should not be around any children. And you can look that up for yourself. And then another daughter who has, a baby daddy who went to prison. Long story short, because of those things, all the babies, all the grandkids are living with 4088 population Hazelhurst. Thank you.
Thank
She's like,
you.
let me go to Wikipedia and find this out. See? Love
Yeah.
y'all. It's like a town. It's a small, Hazelhurst is a small town. That's of 2020, 4,088 population, according to Wikipedia. Thank S4A. So, long story short, you have Michael and Angela, her like 6 grandbabies, her convicted felon daughter, and then her other daughter who has an ex who is in prison, all living under one household. Allegedly, April, Michael allegedly was saying that he was taking care of the kids. He couldn't leave the house. She was making him babysit, all the things. And finally, he got sick of it and he, quote unquote, left. He left. And this is the part that is funny to me a little bit, but not funny. It's serious, you guys, but it's a little funny. So allegedly, Angela left to go to the corner store to buy some cigarettes, and we know that she's known for her cigarettes and her Coca-Cola. She goes to the corner store to get her essentials and comes back and he's gone. That is the allegation. And from there, now all of a sudden he's missing. What are your thoughts so far, April? Before I move on.
I have so many thoughts. So many thoughts. Y'all, I live in DC now, but I'm from Georgia. I'm from Middle Georgia. I know towns like Hazelhurst, and it is not easy to live in a place like that, even when you see that it's not all white. It's still very difficult to live in a Southern town like that with that kind of Southern mentality. And you see as well as I do, Linda, there are a lot of Nigerians who are Trump supporters.
Yep.
But the reality of what it means to be a Trump supporter once you set foot on US soil is so very different from the concept of Trump outside of the United States. A lot of people outside the US really think that he's just a business person. And inside the US, we know a lot more or pay attention a lot more to, or we advertise a lot more. I won't say we pay attention more because a lot of US citizens are idiots. But the vitriol, the racial vitriol that he spews, that people believe in, that get perpetuated in small towns like this and would absolutely show through in how he's treated.
100%.
And it's difficult enough. Like acclimation to living in the US is difficult enough without all those extra factors.
100%. Renee says that Hazelhurst, with the 4,088 population, is 45% white, 32.9% black, 19.5% Hispanic. She goes on to say, like the dad who left for the evening newspaper and never came back, that part.
It's not funny, but it is funny because you know that for him to leave Hazelhurst, he had to make like plans. There had to be like plans in place before she left for the store.
100%. One of the titles, one of the headlines said that, quote, "I fear for my life," unquote, Michael Islami tells U.S. police why he left wife at home. So that being said, let's move on to a couple of things. In April, I want to talk to you about it because I want to dispel some of the myths. Because one of the things that I always think about is, April, when I was in university and I was like a 100 level, I don't know what you guys call it. I think you call it freshman. Do you know what freshman in university still, or is that just high school?
Yeah, it's still freshman in university.
Okay. So I was like a 100 level first year university student for Americans freshmen. And my professor said to me, or not to me, but to everyone, but I took it personally, where he's like, one of the things I want you guys to learn is that you need to question everything. You need to even question what I say to you and do your own research. And he said, and the facts back then were that 80% of people do not research for themselves what the truth is, right? So wherever you fall politically, wherever you fall journalistically, you fall within what speaks to you, right? So if it speaks to you, you're going to believe it. If it doesn't speak to you, you're not going to believe it. And one of the things that was so interesting to me is the fact that you hear something, but how often do you actually research to find out, is it true? Right? So here we have Michael. He's come to America. He got married in Nigeria, as you guys all know, with Angela. Originally, Angela was applying for the K1 visa. They got denied the K1 visa. And so she flew to Nigeria. And what's the spousal visa called?
A lot of people refer to it as the IR1 or the C1.
C1 visa. So then she got married outside of the America in Nigeria. C1 visa applies. And it took some time. And just like April said, between the pandemic, between Trump putting this ban on specific African nations, it took time for Michael to finally get to the United States. He gets to the United States, and here's April where I want you to take over because I don't really know like what the process is. But what I do know is that many of you guys have messaged me and been like, oh, they should send Michael back. He's a Yahoo boy. He did this. He got missing because you guys will get to it because he was missing, but then he wasn't really missing. He left Angela, and he left Angela allegedly because of all the things that she was doing and all the things that he was prevented from doing. So I wanted to bring April. And if you guys are not familiar with April, April's an immigration attorney out of Washington, D.C. She helps many, many people. And if you guys haven't followed our little journey with 90 Day Fiance, then definitely make sure that you follow her. Her screen name is under her name. And if you have true immigration issues, definitely reach out to her. She will definitely give you a consult. But that being said, so many of you guys have reached out to me and said that Angela should deport him. He shouldn't be in the United States. He can't work legally. Can he work legally? Because if you guys do follow my page, April and I talked about how if you have a C1 visa before you get to the America, then you're already considered a resident. And if you're a resident, then you can work in America.
Yeah.
And so I want April to be able to sort that all out so you guys can all understand that all the rhetoric that you're hearing, if you haven't done your research, not you specifically, because I know everyone that follows April and I have done their research and are critical thinkers, but all the outside people hear what she has to say, because one of the things that I can't stand hearing, and you guys can stop messaging me about it, is that, oh, send this person back. Send Natalie back. Send Michael back. Send all these people back from 90 days because it didn't work out with the American. That is not how it works.
It's not how it works.
Period. April, take it away.
So let's talk about the actual immigration process. Okay. You arrive in the United States, you got married outside the US, and you arrive in the United States. There's two pathways you could go on. If you were married outside the US and that marriage is over 2 years, you've been married for 2 years or more, you arrive with a 10-year permanent residency and all the rights of a resident. You can work, you can start paying taxes. There's no limitations. You are a full resident. You can travel as long as you maintain your residency. The only thing you have to do to maintain your residency is live in the US for at least 6 months of the year.
Can we stop that? And
Mhm.
say that one more time, April, just because I
Yeah.
feel like it's so important for people to understand. So you
You
guys
arrive.
really listen to what April is saying about what the law is in the United States of America.
We'll get even more technical. You get on your plane, yeah. You arrive in the United States. You go into CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. They will look at your paperwork and they will stamp it, and that stamp says resident, right? And then once you reach your destination, there's some fees you have to pay at the airport. You reach your destination and you will receive your actual green card, which is not green anymore, but that's just what we still call it, in the mail. You are a full-fledged resident.
You are a full-fledged resident.
Right. So that's branch one.
Resident
Yeah.
alien, they still call it. You have a
Resident
resident
alien.
alien number. Your
Mhm.
green card that's not really green anymore has all your essential information on it, your alien quote unquote number on it. And that allows you to then move forward in like the working process, getting a what do you guys call it?
Social security number.
Social security number, because we call it
Yeah,
social insurance number. Social security number, which then allows you to work in the United States.
correct.
Go on,
Yeah.
April.
The other branch, so this branch is if you've been married for 2 years or more. The other branch is if you have not been married for quite 2 years. You arrive as a conditional resident. So you're still a resident. You still have all the rights of a resident, but it's a 2-year conditional residency where you have to apply to remove the conditions of your residency at some point, and then you can move on to the 10-year residency. Both of these people are fully residents. Neither of these people are subject to the person who petitioned them as to whether or not they can remain in the United States.
Say that part again.
Neither, because the reason why is because slavery is outlawed. Okay? You're not bound to any particular person. Nobody bought you, nobody can sell you. So your residency is your own. When you arrive, whether it's the 10-year permanent residency or the 2-year conditional residency, you arrive as your own person. You belong to no one but yourself. You are not obligated to remain in that marriage.
And so, for those of you that have messaged me and said, hey, Angela should send Michael back to Nigeria. Send him back. Go back to your country. I hear that as an immigrant and I just like cringe.
It's very
Angela
cringy.
does not have that type of power. She cannot, as an American citizen, send anyone back because she entered into a contract, a marriage contract. She married this person, whether it was in the United States or outside of the United States, and then filled in all the other paperwork in order to bring the immigrant over to America. That's it. Besides that, you guys, I need you guys to understand that no one American citizen can send anyone that they've quote unquote
No,
sponsored back to their home country. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of telling everyone about it. April is an immigration attorney and she's telling you what I've been telling you for a long time. Okay.
and
Not one person as a citizen can send anyone back. So
no.
stop saying that. Stop saying, send that person back. That person should go back to their country. Get them out of America.
Yeah.
Send them back. Oh my God. Just stop it. Stop it.
It's practically a very ridiculous thing to say as well, apart from the law, because a person has prepared their life, they've closed their life in one country in order to move to another. For a lot of people, that means selling their homes, relocating things with their children, making certain arrangements with their parents or anybody else they're caring for. So practically, it makes no sense because some people will say, well, if they're not together anymore, then why are they staying in the country? Because they rearranged their life to come here. So it's their choice if they want to stay here or not. We've seen people who stay in the US and we've seen people who return to their home country. That's their choice and no one else's.
That part. Dr. Payne Nestor says facts. She also says, I hate the way that sounds too. Me too,
It
Dr.
sounds horrible. And when people come to me and they want a petition for a spouse, I make sure we talk about upfront, you understand this means this person does not have to stay with you because I don't want to deal on the back end with them having a problem if the relationship doesn't work out.
Do you want to deal with this? So Renee is asking, I don't know if this is a dumb question. There are no dumb questions because we're all learning, Renee. And I think that knowledge is power. So there are no dumb questions. So you guys, any questions you have, feel free to ask them in the chat, the live chat. If you're watching the replay, put them up. April and I go through them. But there are no dumb questions because immigration is also it's a very fluid situation as far as I'm concerned, and things change over the years.
Right.
And as an immigrant, I know that for a fact. So Renee is asking, I don't know if this is a dumb question, but does this apply to the Pedro Chantel marriage? Pedro did an interview that Chantel is trying to revoke his status.
Yeah, so we've seen Chantel's family, they've been sending letters to immigration to try and get him deported. It's futile. It's not worth it for them to be spending their time this way. They need to find something else to do. In this case, it would be even more difficult for them to try and get his status questioned because he's been under evaluation 3 times. One, to get the K visa, they have to approve the authenticity, why can't I get the word out, of the relationship. 2, when they finally applied for his residency and go to the interview, they have to prove again the validity of the marriage. And then 3, he's already applied for citizenship and received it. So that's 3 different evaluations that USCIS has put him under to determine whether or not he can remain in the US. So their efforts are additionally futile. And I also want to review really quickly, we talked about earlier the pathways that happen if you get married and the marriage is over 2 years, less than 2 years. That's not the normal situation we see on 90 Day Fiance. We usually see people come in on a fiance visa. In that situation, they do have to remain married until they at least get that green card and file that 485 if they're going to receive it through their spouse. So that situation is different.
So let me ask you this, and Renee, thank you for your question. Let me ask you this, April, because I mean, I think I know the answer, but I do want your expert opinion. So oftentimes if they have a conditional visa, USCIS gives the 2-year conditional visa, right?
Mhm.
So do married couples have to stay together for those 2 years? Or if they separate, what then happens?
So they don't have to stay together for those 2 years. You just have to prove to USCIS that the marriage was entered into in good faith and that for reasons beyond your control that you were unable to move forward with the marriage. So for example, this is not their situation, but a real example we're seeing right now is Sophie and Rob. I don't think they've actually applied yet, but let's say that they did apply and she's conditional residency. The fact that she keeps finding out that he's online cheating on her is out of her control.
Mm-hmm.
She can't continue the marriage under these circumstances. So she would be eligible for a waiver of that requirement to continue the relationship, to continue the marriage, and still be able to become a permanent resident.
So it sounds to me, April, like there were a lot of, for lack of a better word, but options for the immigrant that has entered into a relationship with a United States American citizen if things don't work out. And why I say that is because A, they have that C visa. So if you can't get married, you can't get the K1 visa, you have the C visa as an option. 2, if you get a conditional visa, K1 visa, and you come over as a fiance, even if it doesn't work out in 2 years, you can still apply for whatever
To remove conditions without staying married.
The third thing that I'm thinking about, Muhammad.
Muhammad and Eve, Yvonne.
Right? And so then there's that other, I can't remember the name of it.
U visa.
What is it called?
U visa.
The U visa, where if you're saying like this person is allegedly
domestic
violence
Yeah.
situation, then you can still stay.
Correct.
So there are a lot of options outside of like, hey, we applied for a visa and it's not working out, and you have Avenue A, Avenue B, C, D, whatever it is, to still stay in the United States. Is that accurate to say?
It is. Some of it was a response to mostly women being abused in these kind of relationships to have other options available. But it does happen that women and men both can be victims of abuse. So yeah, the power dynamic is such that a lot of times the US citizen has so much power in the relationship
Yeah.
that there's other immigration options available to kind of change that.
Right. And again, I want to say there is no one American citizen, you guys, that can deport their spouse or
Correct.
potential spouse or whatever back to their country. So I really need you guys to understand that. Joslo, hey girl, hey. Oh, I'm late. Welcome back, Linda and April. You were missed.
Thank you.
She also says, I thought a 90-day visa, you couldn't travel home within the year, but the lawyer told Jasmine she could travel. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So what the attorney is talking about is called advanced parole. If there's an emergency situation, you can apply for advanced parole. And the situation, if I remember correctly, I just watched this. Why am I already blanking on it? Is that her mother was sick. So you can apply for that. You generally want to avoid it. You don't want to delay your process, but if it's really necessary, you can.
There you go. All right, we're going back to Michael and Angela. So Michael wasn't missing. He just left and he was found. Okay, he was found, y'all. And I want to read this. It came from an account that says Angie and Michael. Don't know whose account this is. Don't know who runs it. But here's what they said. I believe by now some of you must have seen this. Michael is not missing and has already communicated with the Hazelhurst Police Department and the bolo taken down. Michael arrived in the U.S. a little over 2 months ago, and ever since, it's hell on earth for him. Angela seized his passport, tore it, and smashed his phone, making it impossible to communicate with anyone, not even his own family. She took Michael to the bank, created an account, and then seized the debit card to the account, giving Michael no access to his own money. The family was super worried for him that they sent out the cops for a welfare check. The cops got there meaning got to Angela's house, and Michael, out of fear for his life, admitted to them he was all right. Angela proceeded to beat the living out of Michael and questioned him about the police, and he told her he didn't know who sent them. She proceeded to place him on house arrest, making sure he didn't see the light of day. On the 23rd of February, Angela got out of the house as usual to buy her cigarettes, forgetting to lock the door. Michael saw an escape route and took off. Angela was seen on YouTube playing the victim card. She should get ready cause COS. Michael is coming out strong to tell the whole world everything that has happened to him. Thoughts on this, April?
He already had no issue with being able to keep his residency. He's got a 10-year residency. But let's say that he arrived in the US and he did not have his 10-year residency. Here, he would have an opportunity to apply for a T visa. When you take someone's passport away, that's considered trafficking. You're not allowing them to leave where they are. So that's T visa eligibility. It's domestic violence when you beat someone, obviously. That would make him eligible for U visa, VAWA. So he would have multiple pathways here to obtain residency if he didn't already have it.
All right, so let's just backtrack for people that don't know, and maybe they're just joining us. We talked about the U visa, and the U visa is given in domestic violence situations between an immigrant and an American citizen. Is that accurate to say, April?
Yeah, it could be other crimes besides domestic violence as well. So it will also be stalking. It could also be various sex-related crimes. I think I can say that on YouTube. It could also be attempted. So
Got it.
there are multiple crimes that
Multiple
also
things.
qualify
Okay, so
for a
multiple
U visa.
things.
Yes.
And then the T visa, which is the first time I'm hearing about this, April. The T visa is what exactly?
A T visa is for trafficking. So it could be any kind of labor trafficking or schmex trafficking.
Mm.
But generally, whenever, as an attorney, whenever you hear someone say that they arrived in a location and someone else took their passport away from them, that is a trafficking issue.
Yeah, can you imagine? Because I'll tell you guys something. It has nothing to do with anything, but it has everything to do with everything. So during the pandemic, my Canadian passport expired. And oh no, well, actually, I'm not gonna say. All I'll say is like being stuck in a country is scary. It's scary, period. And so, if indeed these allegations are true, that would be scary for him because he had not been in America for a very long time. Um, oh, Mustang Sally. That's a song, right? Mustang
Yeah.
Sally. I don't know it.
Ride, Sally, ride.
Okay, I don't know it, but I know it's a song. Hey girl, hey.
Hey,
And
Faith.
then Faisy says, so glad I caught it live. We're so glad to be back, you guys, and talking about a really important issue: immigration, immigrants, K1 visas, C visas, T visas, U visas, all the things. It has been a while. We've been lifing, and life has been lifing, but we are back, and we are happy to be back. And all of you guys that have hung in and supported us and messaged us and all of that stuff, we really appreciate it. We do, and we're still here, and we're back stronger than ever. That all being said, if you guys haven't seen this video, I really, April, I don't know if you've seen this, but let's watch Angela. So this is when Angela found out allegedly that Michael was missing, and one of the things that I just find interesting about this whole situation too, April, is that, okay, here's the thing. Okay, and I'm going to give you a hypothetical situation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it sounds crazy, but it will make sense in a minute.
Okay.
So I'm an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
I've moved to the United States as a Canadian. My husband is an immigrant as well. He's Drake.
Okay.
So Drake, who's also Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been in America longer, so I'm able to sponsor him, all the things. Drake is my husband, and we've gotten married. He came over on, let's say, a C visa. We got married in Canada, in Toronto. Let me not go into too many details. Okay. Because you guys might think I was like stalking him. So we get married. He finally gets a C visa. He comes over, and then he gets to my apartment, and he's so used to living in a mansion that he's like, I can't live in this apartment. This is ridiculous. So he leaves me. And when he leaves me, I'm like confused because I think that he's missing. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I would do, April, is I would call 911 and say, hey, my husband from Canada is missing. And I would also file a missing police report.
Mm-hmm.
What I would not do, April, is call a blogger and be like, hey, blogger, come to my apartment, drive from Vegas to my apartment, and let's talk about how my husband is missing. That makes no sense to me. If you indeed, in my opinion, allegedly thought that your husband was missing, the first call would be to the police. And if you guys know anything about me, you guys know I love all true crime. You know, my undergrad degree is in criminology and political science. Investigative journalism is like my thing, my jam. And so I find it really weird that you call a blogger instead of the police allegedly, when your husband went missing. So let's watch the video, okay?
Johnny Yates and Cody, which is a good family of mine, they drove all night to get here. Michael's been missing since the 23rd. The police are involved. We can't find him. Can you hush, Lucy, please? Johnny, what is? I can't do this, Sean. Cody, I can't do this.
Baby girl.
I can't.
Baby girl. It's on.
Can you tell him how to get on the live?
First of all, somebody in the comments was saying, say hello to Portugal, and I knew they should have.
Y'all.
She is so unserious. She's like Captain Unserious.
100%. And like, if you're gonna fake cry, can I at least see some tears? Like, all of that was just unnecessary to me. Okay, April, we have a few more questions in the live chat. We'll get back to the video, but I do think some of the, like, Scandalous has a question that I don't know the answer to, and I would like to learn the answer to. So we're in the 90-day universe still. Yes, working up those tears. What about Muhammad alleged DV against Nicole? Does that revoke his status?
So not automatically. If USCIS, first of all, I don't know anything about the situation. I'm just taking the sentence as true that there's some DV allegations.
Okay, so there has been, April. There has
Okay.
been. So Nicole and Muhammad got allegedly arrested in Los Angeles for domestic violence against Nicole.
Yeah. So not automatically, no. If USCIS wanted to put him into immigration proceedings to try and remove his residency, they could. They can do that based on any criminal charges. From my experience, domestic violence is not a charge that they really care about.
Oh.
You know, it would have to be either repeated or serious for them to believe that's an issue. I've one occasion. So I've been in immigration for a while now. I don't know everything, but we'll just use my experience. I've seen one occasion where domestic violence landed someone who was not a resident. Remember, Mahmoud is a resident. Landed someone who was not a resident in immigration proceedings. And that case involved strangulation, which is different from a typical domestic violence case.
So I'm a little confused though then, because it seems to me like it's a little bit of a catch-22. So if an immigrant comes in to America and has a residency status and is allegedly accused of domestic violence, that's not something that USCIS takes seriously. However, if the immigrant is alleging some type of violence that we talked about, violence or trafficking or whatever, under the U visa, they take it seriously?
So the statutes are different. The U visa statute is protecting people who want to provide information to the police from retaliation. So your status is not going to be dependent on that person. But as a resident, you are not going to be so harshly penalized, because he's a resident, for criminal activity as a non-resident. So on the one end, I'm not justifying it. I'm just telling you.
I know. I'm just like, that sounds crazy to me.
There are different statutes that come from different Congresses. So on the one hand, there's protection for the immigrant who's the victim of abuse to be able to get status by cooperating with the police. On the other hand, there's no harsh penalty for someone who is accused of the domestic violence.
Does that not sound a little crazy to you?
if you look at it only from the instances, like we've seen the way that Mahmoud is with Nicole, and if you look at it from those instances, it seems bizarre, like, oh, more should be done about him. But if you look at it from the instances where the domestic violence is not, no matter what I say, somebody's going to get really angry right here, but I'm just going to go ahead and finish the sentence, where it's both parties that are participating and the police just have to remove one from the house and one person has to be charged. You don't want, I don't want super harsh penalties in those situations for someone who, I want them to have a chance to recover, especially if it's a situation where the aggressor is the one who just happens to make the phone call first, and then the victim is the one who gets removed because they were retaliating against the aggressor.
I mean, Renee, okay. So I have questions too, and I'm going to percolate.
Yeah.
April, I'm going to percolate on it. Renee has a question, and if you need to percolate on it too, we can move forward and circle back. But Renee says, I'm a little confused. What's the difference between Michael and Angela and Mahmoud and Nicole? That is scary, which is kind of what I'm saying. So Angela, being the U.S. citizen and has all these allegations of domestic violence, et cetera, Michael saying that he's scared of his living situations, allegedly. And then you have Mahmoud and Nicole, where Mahmoud moved here, and now instead of the U.S. resident, it's the immigrant that's being allegedly, what's the word I'm looking for? Allegedly the aggressor and accused of domestic violence, yet it's two separate situations. So in Michael and Angela's situation, allegedly, or maybe Michael could allegedly file for a U visa. However,
well, he doesn't need to.
Oh, he doesn't need to because he's already a resident.
Yeah, Mahmoud and Michael are already residents. Okay. So neither one of them needs to file for anything. I was just giving like an example.
Okay.
If Michael was not already a resident,
gotcha.
There's some different things that he could do. But both of these people in this situation are already residents because they got married outside of the United States.
Got it. That makes sense to me. Renee, I hope that makes sense to you as well. We're moving on. So as you guys know, there's been a long history of problems between not only Michael and Angela, but Soldier Boy, aka Usman, and Angela and Michael, and that whole drama. And Soldier Boy took to his Instagram and talked about Angela and said that woman should be well investigated because BCUS. How can that grown man just go missing or just got missing? I mean, he just got there, and if he run away, he will let her know the reason why he run away. How can he even run away and left his passport and everything with her? Guys, you need to stand for Michael, please. Something fishy is going down. I pray she didn't do anything bad to him, because as it's now, I don't even know what it is.
So some people were concerned that perhaps she had harmed him.
I was concerned.
I guess I didn't know about it long enough for that to cross my mind.
Listen, I said it from the day one. I said Michael needs to stay in Nigeria. He's never traveled. He thinks that wearing "Make America Great" hat again and waving the U.S. flag is going to make him amazing, and that is not reality, especially in the South of America. And again, you guys can come for me, and everyone's like, oh, I live in the South and that's not my situation, and Linda, you're like propaganda, all that stuff. I'm just saying, as an immigrant, as a Black woman, as a Canadian, I've experienced some situations that I would never experience outside of the United States. That being said, I had some concerns.
Yeah.
And so we've seen how Angela has treated him on 90 Day Fiance, on TV, on film, okay? Between throwing cake in his face,
the car,
attacking his car, attacking him, talking crazy to him, talking crazy to his auntie, all the things. I had a few concerns.
Even
And
the sex on
rightfully
demand.
so. And also too, outside of the TV show, seeing some of the things that allegedly Angela did, where, the doctor who is a cosmetologist, I think that's the word, in New York City, where she beat up her friend allegedly, where she was on the plane allegedly and was talking crazy and was ready to fight the flight attendant allegedly. There are some things that she's consistent with her behavior. Okay, she's consistent with her behavior. So I had some issues. I had some concerns. And I'm saddened by those concerns because she has shown us who she is on a regular basis. So
She's violent, and TLC repeatedly put her on more shows despite her being repeatedly violent.
That part.
Wow.
Okay, and then her old bestie JoJo posted this the extreme that people go to stay relevant, and a lot of people commented on that post. One of those people being Debbie, and Debbie from Single Life, Cult Debbie. She said, "Hey, lady, are you thinking what I'm thinking? LOL, miss you. I've been so busy trying to get back to Canada. Hopefully another week or two." And then someone else, another commenter, was like, So a lot of people are thinking the same thing that we have been thinking, which is, hey, like, okay, Angela, you're saying all these things, but okay.
I'm glad Michael got out.
Girl, same.
I didn't even know that it was going to be as bad as what that description said that he was living through. Even if he didn't bear any of that, I would have been cheering for him to just leave her anyway, because the treatment is not loving. Nobody deserves that. I moonlight in these immigrant groups sometimes looking for clients and sometimes just looking to understand what people think about immigration. And the number of men who will just openly say things like, if she doesn't stay with me, I'm going to send her back, or if she doesn't do all the cooking and the cleaning, if we don't have a kid in the first year, like the conditions that they will put on the immigrant who's coming to the United States for the behavior and what they expect from them are absolutely ridiculous. And
Yeah.
Angela, mostly it's men that I see doing that kind of stuff, but Angela, I'm not surprised that she's the kind of person who tried to make him her handyman.
Yep.
Her babysitter.
Handyman, babysitter, all the things.
Correct. Scandalous is correct. She did.
Um,
That financial control is also abuse. So if you are watching this and you by chance are in the US, even if the person is not putting their hands on you, if they're maintaining financial control over you, and I'm not talking about they just won't buy whatever Chanel bag you want. I mean, like, they won't let you have access to your own money. They won't let you get a job. If they refuse to adhere to or allow you to adhere to your cultural traditions, those things are also abuse. It's cultural abuse, financial abuse. If you're Muslim and you're being forced to go out without your face covered and that's not what you want, that's cultural abuse. So, those things take into consideration in determining whether or not you want to continue that relationship and if other immigration options are available to you. Yes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Which part are you at?
I was just reading what Scandalous said, but yes, Renee first.
Okay, so Renee says, my other conspiracy theory is that Angela and Michael did this to promote Happily Ever After because we haven't had any follow-up.
Oh, I think he left.
And I want to address this because Patreon subscribers, we're going to have a part 2, and I have another guest that's going to just be Patreon only. But that being said, I'll say, Renee, there might be something to what you're saying. I'll leave it at that. That being, is that Olivia? Is this Olivia? Olivia! Okay, so Scandalous says, memories of Danielle to Muhammad. I want my ex tonight or I'll get you deported.
Abuse.
Sexual abuse, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys, there are, and again, I'm still wrapping my mind around this whole U visa, T visa versus the immigrant being allegedly
The aggressor. Let's
yeah,
change
the
the
aggressor.
situation. So let's change situation. Instead of Mahmoud and Michael arriving as residents, let's imagine that they arrived on a regular K visa.
Okay, so
Right.
they arrive on a regular K visa, and one of them gets to Hazelhurst and allegedly is abusive to the American citizen. What's the scenario there?
So in that situation, let's also imagine that they don't get married. Right? They came on a K visa.
Yeah, they got
There
that
was
90
abuse,
days.
and they don't get married.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that situation, Mahmoud doesn't have an avenue to remain in the United States. He didn't marry the U.S. citizen,
Mhm.
and he now has a criminal record. There's
Okay, so
nothing for him.
what's the flip side? So what if they do get married? They get married in the first 30 days. They fly to Vegas. They get married by Elvis and then go back to wherever they live. Then what?
If the U.S. citizen still wants to file the petition for that person, they can do so, and they can decide that they want to forgive that abuse. And the USCIS officer also will make a judgment whether or not, in their discretion, they want to grant the application.
Oh, Christina, you know my hearts are messed up. And you guys, sorry. I'm just gonna say we're sorry one time, but heart, this is a heart, Christina. Thank you for the super sticker. And Christina
Aw.
says not Elvis. Well, whatever. It's always Elvis. Okay, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. As you guys already know, I have a lot of strong feelings about Angela, how she's treated Michael. I don't necessarily feel bad for Michael because I think that he's made some specific decisions in his life. But I also think that, in my personal opinion, what I've seen on TV from Angela, I'm just not a fan of. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm going to play devil's advocate. So, someone sent this to me. So, David, if you guys remember, is one of Michael's good friends. And he posted this on January 20th on his Facebook. Happy birthday to Prince Austin. Now, if you guys remember, Angela used to call Michael's friends the Yahoo Boys, right? She thought all of them were terrible and they were all Yahoo Boys. She is really continuing, allegedly, this narrative that Michael's Yahoo Boy. So this picture, he was already in America. He's with David and this prince. And I really need you guys to pay attention to Prince Austin. And Prince Austin is the guy in the gray. You see him there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's his birthday, January 20th. They're in the United States. I find it interesting in the background that there's like some missing persons poster, but that's neither here nor there. We go on to see, well, I go on because I'm nosy like that. So Prince Austin, his Facebook profile has a picture of his mama in the back in the purple, if you guys see. And he's married to Michelle, which you'll see in the circle. Okay. Obviously an older white lady. You know, not that dissimilar to Michael's situation, in my personal opinion. Okay. So we see that. So I go on to research because this fool, Black Don't Crack April, he looks like he's in his early 30s. She does not. And, age is just a number. I'm good on that. But I also want you guys to, like I said, I'm playing devil's advocate. Let's say he is a Yahoo boy. Let's say Michael's a Yahoo boy. Let's say they had a specific plan. Michael's like, hey, friends, y'all made it over to America, marrying these older white women. I didn't realize that my older white woman was going to be so feisty, so allegedly aggressive, all the things. So what should I do, right? And again, you guys, I'm playing devil's advocate, but this is one of Michael's great friends. Okay, so here we have him with his wife.
That's the same woman from the other picture?
Girl, yes. This woman right here, you see on the left, right here, with like some type of blue necklace. You see her, April?
Mm-hmm.
Is the same woman in the black right beside him. You see that?
Okay.
Wait, you don't see? You see that that's the
No,
same?
I see the person. I don't zoom. Don't, Linda. Why are you zooming?
Because I really need you to see before I make my points.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is the woman, and I can blow her face up like all the way, and then that's the same woman in black.
Okay, maybe they're like, a year or so apart.
A year apart?
They look. Okay, let me shut up.
No, please talk.
She looks different in the two pictures.
Okay.
She looks like time has passed. And the other one.
90 Day Fiance Angela Deem hints at divorce after Michael Islami was found safe. Quote, I got 3 lawyers. 90 Day Fiance star Angela Deem hinted that she planned to divorce husband Michael Islami after he went missing on February 23rd and was seemingly hiding from her. Honestly, quote, honestly, I'm hurt that he did it. He did that, and I love him, but I can't take him back because what he did here proves that he don't give a F, she said in a YouTube live video on Monday, February 26th, after receiving a call from police telling her that Michael, 35, was found safe. However, they told her that he was, quote, in fear of his life, end quote, and didn't want Angela, 58, to know his location.
He didn't ask to come back.
Angela added that she had, quote, 3 lawyers and hinted that she planned to file for divorce from Michael. Quote, Nigerians, people that backed him, get him a good lawyer because mine is $10,000 an effing hour, end quote.
Okay. There was no need for all that exaggeration, Angela. 10,000 an hour. Look what Jennifer said. Jennifer.
Jennifer. I mean, welcome to the live chat. You came in and made your mark. That's all I can say. You made your mark.
Jennifer came in on a 100-yard dash.
58 for 7 years.
And the old folks say Jennifer came in wide open.
She came
wide
open. You know what? Okay, so back to playing devil's advocate. Jennifer's throwing me off.
Okay. So the devil advocate position is that perhaps this was a setup.
Perhaps this whole game plan was coming to America, period, bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And because he had put in so much time and energy, taken so much alleged abuse from Angela, that he couldn't start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so he finally got here. 2 months into it, he realized he couldn't take it, allegedly, and then took off. Right? That's the devil advocate. So my devil advocate part of me is like, this was his plan from the beginning. He realized that, 58-year-old Angela, who's been 58 for 7 years, according to Jennifer, was like, that's not my soulmate, but I'm too far in, I'm too deep in, I'm going to ride this wave. That being said, his friend David went on to talk about Angela. and him being missing. So Angela Deem's husband, Michael Islami, missing since Friday. David, his friend, says, you seize his passport, you seize his phone, you didn't allow him to work, you don't allow him to have access to his phone, controlling him, etc. Nothing he can do since he entered America. You just kept him in the house. You don't allow him to talk to his family. So what did you expect? Stay? Question mark, question mark. No way. He made a right decision. He is all right. No issue with him. Marriage is not a slavery place. Thoughts, April, as you shake your head?
I have a lot of thoughts. My first thought is Ray Della said Angela looks 90. Did you see the movie Benjamin Button?
Yes, reversing backwards.
When he first was born and he was all wrinkly like an old man.
Yep.
That's what Angela reminds me of, it like Benjamin Button with veneers.
But not great veneers, because I don't understand what's going on with the bottom teeth.
It's the jaw position. She needs jaw work now. But anyway, and my number two thought is it possible that Michael and anybody else also has the goal of coming to the United States along with the goal of finding a partner? Absolutely. And I think that's perfectly fine. I think it's fine to have those dual goals. I have a hard time believing that he could stay in this relationship and stay physical and affectionate without having some degree of care for her. I have a hard time thinking that he would be successful in the interview process to obtain the marriage visa without having some affinity for her, because some of the questions they ask are pretty intrusive. Is it possible that it was all a scam? Yeah, I suppose it's possible, but I just have a hard time thinking that someone could go through something for that amount of time under the scrutiny that it takes to do it with the government involved without some percentage, 10%, 20%, 30% of actual care and concern for the other person.
That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Okay, so April, I think we've talked about the Angela and Michael situation in depth. I want to ask you, if someone finds themselves in this situation where they've spent many years with their partner and they've been a long distance relationship, they finally come to America and the relationship goes awry, what advice would you give them legally as they move forward in their journey?
Well, I'm not a family law attorney, so I can't do divorce advice. You definitely want to talk to someone to protect your assets, because in a marriage, depending on what state you're in, assets might be split. From an immigration perspective, I just say to people who come and see me about getting someone deported to cut your losses and start your healing journey. Lean into your friends, lean into your family, and start figuring out where you want to spend your time. The time that you used to spend in this long distance relationship, start finding other places to spend your time and expend your energy, whatever it is that you're feeling, sadness, anger, start finding ways to spend them constructively, because it is not going to be worthwhile, in my opinion, unless there's something extremely egregious that happened, to be calling and writing to USCIS, trying to get somebody deported. It's not going to be worth your time. Your time is going to be better spent with your children and your hobbies and your endeavors, and not on this. And when I say it has to be like truly, truly an egregious situation, even Muhammad is an egregious situation. Use that as your barometer for what is egregious. Do you have text messages showing that that person literally said to someone else, let me just get my papers and then I will come and be with you? It needs to be that clear cut. And even if you see that, you might still say, if they decide to stay in the US, that's their business. I'm moving on with my life. But it has to be egregious. It's not just they're not with me anymore, so they had bad intent. That's not enough. Marriages are allowed to fail without immigration consequences.
Y'all, there it is. There it is. Excellent, excellent information. April. You guys, that's it. That's all. We want to talk about Michael and Angela. I want to talk about Michael and Angela. I wanted to dispel some of the myths, y'all, and I think that we accomplished that today. I do really want to say that please do not DM me and say Angela or Mike or whomever needs to, because they're American, send that person back to their country. I'm tired of hearing it. And if you send it to me, I'm just going to block you because I'm really tired of hearing it. Because it shows me that you've done no research and you have not listened to one podcast that tells you what exactly the law is. So yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything about it. So interesting. Thank you, Renee, for being here.
Renee.
Christina says I sponsored my ex. Don't recommend.
Well, you do have to take it from the beginning. If you decide to enter in a relationship with a person who's not in the United States and you're going to sponsor them, you do have to take it on the chin. This might not work out. I might invest a lot of my money in here. I might invest a lot of my time in here, and it might not work out. You've got to take that.
You know what, Christina? You need to go back and listen to the beginning. It's been 18 years. Can I send him back? Now. LOL, Christina. I got married at 19 and sponsored my ex-husband too. Y'all need to DM each other. Renee and Christina, you guys need to go back to the beginning of this interview, podcast, YouTube, and hear all the things that April has said. I know you guys are making jokes, but y'all sound crazy. Oh, I love this. Thank you so much for having April on. As someone in the immigration process, it's been wonderful to hear from an experienced immigration attorney. Oh,
well, thank you. And I hope you feel better about wherever you are in your process now. I hope anyone that's coming to the U.S. understands that you're not beholden to the person who sponsored you, the person that you married. I see people in bad situations sometimes, and I don't want them to have to live like that.
So glad you beautiful ladies are back. Miss you terribly. Y'all, you know what? We missed you too. We love you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to both Holloway Legal, PLLC, where am I? The Melanated Way, Linda's to Girly, wherever you'll find me. And then what else did I want to say? Patreon subscribers, we're doing a news and gossip later today, so stay tuned. And April and I will be back. I can't tell you exactly when, but we'll be back. And thank you guys for being here. April, what do you want to say? Where are you going? Are you going to stay in the U.S. for a minute? Or are you going somewhere?
I am parked in the U.S. until at least August, unless I see a really good deal between now and then.
Y'all, make sure you follow April's travels because it's 100% Black girl magic. All right, y'all. Bye for now. We love you. We missed you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Did I say welcome back to us? Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, I can't sing. I need my microphone to sing. It's the only way I can sing. Is it Welcome Back, Carter? Is that?
That was a TV show.
Welcome back. I don't know where I got that from.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that part.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye, you guys.